Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came home.
And here he is, Jerry Springer, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Whoa. Thank you.
I didn't want to embarrass her, but
What?
Megan,
What?
I don't want to start off a show with tension, but like, you almost missed the announce.
I did. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the first time. I mean,
Ever.
you usually are pretty professional. Well, no, not pretty. That's
I
like
mean,
saying
on the
youngest,
list of things to
you're
do,
very
the
professional.
first thing
I have my
is,
job.
here's
I'm
Jerry.
sorry.
Do you think Ed McMahon ever missed saying,
I don't
here's
think so.
Johnny?
Well, but the thing is,
But
Ed McMahon did not have a cell phone, which Megan was obviously preoccupied with.
Well, she's
you're on
got-
your cell phone doing a podcast.
You seem a little shaken today.
was-
What happened? Tell
I
me
am
what
Is there
on.
something going on?
You guys are so nosy. It's
Well,
disgusting.
really, I didn't mean to push
You
in,
tell
but what,
Uncle Jerry what's
Okay.
going on.
So I
What
am
are you
on my
on?
phone. I am finishing up a conversation that I'm having with a young man on an online dating site. I'm just wrapping up the conversation. So
you are right now
I
while
am.
the podcast is going on, an online dating.
yes.
Online dating?
Yeah. So I'm just kind of chatting with him, and I was finishing up and saying I've got somewhere to go.
Unbelievable.
So, but I had told you it happened because I was talking. We're not talking anymore. The gentleman I told
Oh,
you guys
this
about.
one that you met
Well, you were
online.
almost, you were close, as far as I was
jinxed.
close to being married.
very close.
What do you
after-
mean they talked twice?
No, we
No,
talked
no,
like
no.
4 times. We had been
times.
seeing each other for a couple of months, but
Okay,
yeah,
so
no,
this was
You were
serious.
talking like 4 times a day.
we were talking a lot. Yeah, we were talking a whole lot. So, and it had gone on for a couple months. So that's over now. So I'm back on.
What do you mean it's over? You broke up with him?
I did not break up with him.
Wait a second. He sat you down and maybe put a glass of wine in front of you and him and had a
he
long
says,
conversation.
It's not
and
you, it's me.
He did not.
That's always a lie.
He did not,
That's
and
what
he
I
did
I
not.
always got it. It's
I
me.
always
It's
got
you.
it.
He
Yeah.
always said to me,
No, mine
"It's
is
you."
really and truly, it's you. It's
Let's
not
don't be
me.
confused
But no, let me share with you and our listening audience what I got
This guy you
yesterday.
Oh, wait a
With
second,
4
Megan.
months.
Are you serious? You're gonna
couple
you got
months, couple months.
Couple months.
Yeah, I got a text message.
you got
He texts you? That's
you
how
got
he
a
breaks
text.
up?
during
break up?
work hours
What?
Oh my.
at like 3:45. So you got to listen to this.
Okay.
So we're gonna call
You're
him.
actually gonna
Let's
read
call
this?
him Stanley.
All right.
well,
So as long as we don't identify him.
Yeah.
Stanley.
His name's Stanley.
Stanley. Okay.
Hold on before you read it.
I swear to
Are
God.
you assuming he's listening right now?
I'm assuming
by
that
the-
he's not. So
All right.
Okay.
I
Go
would
ahead.
have to assume he is not listening right now. And if he is, Stanley, my bad. But you brought this
Yeah,
up.
here we go.
You brought it on himself.
So here's what he wrote.
Yes.
Hello, Megan. I know it doesn't look like I'm really trying not to be a blank.
Yeah, a blank.
I was at the state fair when you called and in bed when you text. I will say, I just don't think this long distance thing is going to work out for me. I've enjoyed our talks and time together, but it's just not there. This text is for sure the easy way out, but I don't want to hash things out.
Whoa.
Holy.
Boom.
Oh. And the
Yeah.
horse you rode in on,
Yeah.
buddy.
So we took that
Yes.
and we processed it last evening. And so
Did we?
now
Yeah. With
You
some
got that
wine.
while you're at work.
I got that while I was at work.
Were you like talking with someone else and all of a sudden your phone goes on? So while the person's talking, you're looking at it and you are just steaming.
1,000% because
Oh,
I
that-
had.
is that true,
Here's the thing:
really?
I hadn't heard from him in like 4 days, like nothing, like total blackout.
it's there.
And so I was like kind of wondering what had gone on.
What an SOB.
When I had
mean, no
texted him the night
kidding.
before and said, just let me know you're okay, right? Like, I haven't heard from you, broke communication habits. It was just like, clearly it's over. I just needed the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
So I got that, and I was with the girl that I just hired, and I'm training her.
Oh, that
And I
is
look down and I
great.
see his name, and I'm like, oh, this ain't going to be good.
All right.
This is
Well,
not going to
look,
be a
Megan,
good thing.
Given, and first of all, and Jerry, I know, joins me in this
Oh,
feeling.
I'm not joining you in
Yes, he
anything.
is. We are sorry for your loss. Well,
It's okay.
sorry
I'm-
for your loss.
I'm
Is that what you
dealing.
say?
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
sorry.
and we, we're like your crazy uncle. So what you feel, we feel.
I know that's true.
Okay.
I
But
can-
the
Now-
good news is, which people always say, the good news is you don't want to be with a guy like that.
no.
No, you don't.
No, you
Imagine if it
don't.
was years from now. You come home one day and there's a
That's
text
right.
saying, I'm
There's a
gone.
text, a
Right,
post-it.
imagine
Yeah,
that.
good luck with the kid.
Look, and here's the other good news.
Thanks for painting that pretty picture for me, Jared. That's really nice.
Here's the other good news.
Aw, I'm buying your chili tonight.
Oh, we're not. No, we're
You
not.
are. Yeah. I got last week.
He did.
I did.
It's
yeah.
my week.
Yeah,
It's
it
my
is your
week.
week.
It's my week.
Megan,
Gene.
You have our permission
Oh, good God.
through the course of this podcast episode tonight
Okay.
to be on your dating service.
Okay.
Is it Bumble? Are you on Bumble now?
I'm on
or-
it. Don't you worry about what I'm on.
Right.
You don't
Are
worry
you
your
on
pretty little head
J-Date
about what
or
I'm
you
doing,
on
Gene Gal.
Christian Mingle. Okay.
You're on
But
Christian Mingle.
You're on Christian Mingle.
Yes,
But here's the
exactly.
deal.
Oh, Farm Girl.
Farmers
Farm
only,
girl.
not farm girl. Farmers only.
Oh,
Farmers
Farmers
only.
only. That's
No.
yeah.
Farm girl's a different website, Jer.
Aren't
That's
you
the
on?
one I go to.
No, she's
Oh,
on.
Farmers only.
Yeah. She's on Right Wing House, I think.
I
Isn't
am.
that another one? Yeah.
I heart the right wing. Singles.
Here's the deal.
I heart the right way.
Feel comfortable
Okay.
to be on it during the course of this episode.
Okay.
And because it would be actually pretty cool if people started then to communicate with you as we're speaking right now. So you're left swiping, right swiping. And,
Absolutely.
All right. And
Absolutely.
Can you keep us, if they start texting back and forth or messaging, read us a message or two.
Yeah, I
Interrupt
wanna
us.
hear.
What do you like
Did you
doing
text
for
him
fun?
back since?
I did.
And what
I
did you
did have a
say?
reply.
If
Do
you
you want me, really and truly
I'd
want me to
love
say?
You
to
didn't,
hear the
when asked the
reply.
question, what do you do for fun? It's like not text.
Not
Not
texting.
texting. That's not.
Do you really want to hear the reply?
Well,
Sure.
I think we do.
on
I
behalf
think
of
we
our
do.
listeners,
So I started it with LOL, so that kind of set the tone. Then laugh out loud. You know very well I deserve more than a text. Really a shame and extremely hurtful, but no worries, you won't hear from me anymore.
oh,
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
And put ... and the horse you
And
rode
the
in
horse
on.
you wrote in on.
And Jerry, turning the attention over to you.
Oh, we don't need to go
Yay,
there.
Thank you.
So I watch your TV show once a year.
It's his Christmas treat.
And I do that because I
You
think
gather the family?
well, Bonnie does sit down with me and she leaves pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And what I was fascinated with, the situation was wonderful,
yeah.
and helpful. You help people.
I'm
you help
helping
some
people.
people on that show. But the commercial is what got me. And Megan, I know you're
I'm sorry.
texting. No, you're going to like this though. Guess what the commercial was, Megan, on his television show, the Jerry Springer show, that crazy
Yeah.
show. The commercial was for Life Alert. That's the one where they say, I've fallen and I can't get up. Explain to us.
How is that your
What the hell?
demographic?
I know you don't sell the ads. What the hell are they doing putting those ads on your show? They think like the people at the Sunrise Senior Citizen Home are watching your show?
They never miss it.
Absolutely.
That's
That is his demographic.
What do you mean? That's the excitement.
Yeah, I guess.
No, but it's because when people are fighting and pulling their wigs, if they fall, you can hit that buzzer and someone will come and help you up.
Yes,
Oh my
I
God.
understand.
That's really bad.
No, I don't know. By the way, if the sponsor's listening, thank
No,
you
it's
very
a good
much.
sponsor.
It's a wonderful sponsor.
Well, no. It is
Thank
good.
you.
I have a
No, we do
relative
have-
who uses maybe that one or one like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good product. But here's the thing, is our demographic. It's interesting. The
Well, what is
demographic.
your demographic?
It's either college kids or older people.
Is that true?
Because the
Well,
rest
it's
of us are at
people sitting
work.
at home.
Yeah.
It's at 10 o'clock
You
in
wanna
the
know something
morning.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I never knew
Yeah,
that.
we
Gene's
have
never
a lot
had
of-
a job, so he
We
doesn't
have
know
a
what
lot-
that feels
Of
like.
course, when our show first started, they weren't seniors.
No.
They were the college kids.
We've been on for 26 years. You know, we could have had a college kid who was on Social Security now.
Absolutely.
watching the show. Yeah.
But you actually have a glut of listeners who are senior citizens.
yeah.
And
yeah,
your
actually,
research
we do.
shows that.
Yeah, research shows that.
Huh.
I would say the common denominator, except for college kids, which is all income groups, but generally, if you had to find one common denominator, it tends to be income level. If you're the middle and below, that's where the bulk of our audience is.
Okay.
You know, wealthier people tend not to watch us.
Yeah. Hey, but you know,
And why are we laughing?
yeah.
But except
it's
the
a
college
statement.
kids, or who often come from wealthy parents, you know, and they watch, of course.
Oh,
It's
I'll tell you.
universal among young people, but after that, you know, you kind of move on.
I observed at the Democratic convention a sea of people, a parade of
Actually,
people
that's
stopping you. You could not go anywhere without, and we came up eventually, Megan, with strategies where we would just like blast through the convention hall or wherever.
Yeah.
As if he was having a heart attack or something. Like, we can't stop for anything. It's the only way you can get through. And the people who kept grabbing at you, let me get a selfie, those were all people who went to college, I assume. So when they're in college, everybody, not everybody, but
Yeah,
it was universal, wasn't it, Megan?
I didn't watch it. I told you that. I've told you all of this.
You didn't watch in college?
Jerry, I still have never seen your show. I've
That
never.
can't
Meg,
be.
I have told you
I
this.
refuse to believe that.
I have told you
need
this.
an intervention.
You're
zillion
fired.
That can't be.
I've told you
Megan,
this.
And
that
in the
can't be.
words of Donald Trump, you're fired.
Megan, that has to
the
be
only
fixed.
time I'll ever quote him.
So I've seen clips of it on the internet. I know what it's all about. We've had this conversation. I have
know,
told
I
you
know we
multiple
have.
times. I've not watched the show.
But your
this can't
assignment for
be.
next
This
week,
can't be.
because now you obviously have time on your hands. Since that SOB dropped you with a text.
You need to
Spend
watch.
an hour and watch one episode, and
Okay.
and I want a
I will.
report
Yeah,
on the
do that.
episode you saw. What happened?
I will do that.
With a
Next week, I
critique.
will come back with a
Actually, that's a
report.
great idea.
Yeah.
Critique
I'll
the
do it
show.
from an HR perspective. I'll
Oh,
critique.
from
Oh
an HR perspective.
no, that's not necessary.
No, you need to do at least what I do. I do it, suck it up, and you do it. Watch
Okay,
an episode a year.
One a year. You call that sucking it up?
Hey,
How long are the episodes? Are they
I'll
half
let
an
you-
hour or an hour?
It's an hour.
an hour.
Are they really? That's long. I thought they were all like half hours.
What are you talking about? You can't get that material done.
You
in
can't
half
fit
hour.
it all
You can't
in.
fit that story
You
arc.
can't
You gotta
fit
have the
somebody's life in a
beginning
half
and then
hour.
the middle and then the
The
end.
denouement. It has to be wrapped
Oh
up.
my gosh! Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, it makes me think of something because this might fit in. I am looking for 2 other drivers to help me set the Guinness Book of Records world record on the number of miles you can put on a rental car in 1 week with one of those rental car deals, unlimited mileage. The new there is no. I've looked into this.
Yeah.
There is no category, and you can create a category if you come up with a good achievement. And I think this is an important achievement. Rent a car. I need 2 other drivers. Get a Lincoln Town car, long back seat. One driver's always sleeping. Other 2 drivers are up in the front, just kind of bullshitting around, and drive around America nonstop for 7 straight days. Eat 3 meals a day at McDonald's. Use the receipts as time stamps and verifications of that you did it where you were, because they always have the address. And so I'm looking for 2 other good drivers to join me to set this world record.
That don't
and
have
we
a
could go to
cholesterol
your
problem.
I was
show.
going to say,
Well, they will.
Can
when
we
I'm back.
negotiate the
I
McDonald's?
think they can do the
part, or-
driving at
Well,
the
wait,
McDonald's for a week.
Subway or something.
Throw a Subway in there? Yeah, come on.
You're going to need that sponsor. Help me! I've fallen and I can't
My
get
arteries
up.
are solid.
But the Jerry Springer show could be.
Well,
You
yeah.
could get a sub for the week at
Yeah.
the Jerry Springer show.
Oh, you have me
get
do it?
Regis Philbin out of the coffin, and maybe he could go do it. But then, and we would go and just drive all over America. You want to see Devil's Tower? Let's drive by. That's in Wyoming. Boom, right over there. Go to the anywhere.
So
Grand
whatever
Canyon.
mileage you got would be the record because it doesn't exist.
No
yet.
one's ever done it.
So
And just pile on the miles, and then because you
Why
want to
do
be
we
able to
wanna do
take
this?
the receipt back to Hertz, and because they always look at the mileage, you want it to be a double take, like, and they go back and look at the odometer again.
6,000 miles. What?
Yeah, I figured you could do probably 6,000 to 10,000 miles.
Well, it'd be
But- so this is-
3,000 is across the country. Well, actually more because the roads are
24/7 though, running on expressways the whole time, because that's how you get the most miles. Because you want to be able to set the record such that 3 college kids would have trouble beating it.
So
that's
You want to
true.
set it and hold it.
Okay, but why?
Oh, there's a question I hadn't thought of.
Megan,
What's
are you
the
serious?
point?
Sorry.
You serious?
Was that silly?
What's
Was that
the
a silly
point?
question?
So you think that when Sir Edmund Hillary looked up at Mount Everest and
Yes.
and people said why, you know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Yeah, because
Because
it's there.
there.
Yeah.
And
So that's
So why do you need to drive?
we already know that rental cars are there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so you guys
Well,
don't
if you
sound very
do it-
enthusiastic.
No,
I'm not on board
I
on
wish
this.
you
So
luck. I'm not
contact
gonna be
me
able
at
to-
gene@jerryspringer.com.
How about this?
My
You get a
schedule
GoPro.
is very busy.
What?
You get a GoPro and get you a rental car.
Guaranteed. If I
Boom.
do it, there'll be a GoPro
Oh,
on.
for sure.
We'll be streaming the whole time.
Live.
Oh, right. We could cover
We could
it
do a
live.
podcast. I could do the whole thing on Facebook Live.
Wow.
Run it for Facebook Live has a 90-minute limit. shut it down, turn it back on, and it's constantly, we'd have to use your phone with your data because I can't afford that kind of data. But we'd have to do that for like 7
Just
straight
have them buy like a dozen.
days.
Of
What
them.
about setting
This
the
doesn't
record?
appeal to you at all.
Not even a
Megan.
little tiny bit. This sounds like a punishment, and I'm out.
We could set the record for the longest mobile podcast.
There we go. And it's
Now,
only
see, no,
Gene
that-
on the
that-
road.
Now that actually has commercial
Oh, now you're
value.
interested?
Yeah, because it has commercial value.
Because it has commercial.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You would more likely hire a couple
Of course.
people to fill in.
I'll
for
have
you.
my people drive for
Well,
me.
you'd have Thomas, your driver, drive.
Thomas was driving today. He says hello to
Hey,
you. He was the
right
guy
back
who,
at you, Thomas.
who drove us in Philadelphia.
Yep. Hey, I did want to ask you something, Jerry, and I get Megan. You may feel the same way. I get so annoyed with. Well, I had dinner with Hillary, and there were only 3 people there, and blah blah
What
blah.
did you
There's
do
always
this week?
something.
I played with my niece. Oh, I met Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, something
Yeah.
like that.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it seems like there's always something
Always.
happening.
Yeah, I did
Because
get another.
you're so important. What? You do have something, don't
Yeah,
you?
no, I guess the guy that dumped you is more important.
It is.
Hey, hold
I'm
on.
so angry at him.
Megan, check your
Check it.
check
He'd
Bumble
answer.
there, whatever you're on, Christian Mingle, whatever.
Yeah. Or farmer's daughter. What? No, farm girls. Farm.
Farmers only.
Farmers only.
Hey, wait a second. Before you tell what happened,
Yeah.
what the hell is Farmers Only? Is it really?
It's a real. Oh
Farmers
yeah, no,
Only?
that's a real one.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah, you don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com. You've heard the commercials.
If you're interested in meeting some rural
But it's not.
guy.
Is it really like mainly rural
Yeah, for
folks?
farm.
Yeah. City folks just don't get
Have
it.
you
That's
left?
their catch
Have
line.
you left and righted on that one? Have you
I
seen
have
the
not.
pictures?
I have not signed up for farmersonly.com.
Why don't you check it out while we're talking and see what they look?
Check it out and see what Farmers Only's got going. No, that's not really my demographic.
Hey Jerry, what happened? Something?
Okay, so yeah, I get, and it reminds me of the story, which it doesn't relate to anything we've spoken about. But I did get an invitation. From this organization called the American Council of Young Political Leaders. And it's their 50th anniversary, and they are honoring Senator Mitch McConnell from
Kentucky, where we are.
Yeah.
Right.
He's
The
my senator, Megan's senator.
Yes.
Senator.
And the reason I got the invitation is I was part of that group back in 1979.
Really?
What that organization does is it picks a few young political leaders, and at the time I was young. I just finished being mayor of Cincinnati. And the State Department invites you or puts you on a tour of some countries around the world, because the whole purpose is that if you're in politics and successful at a young age, you may stay in it. You may be one of our leaders later on. So let's start getting educated. You don't want to grow up and be like Trump and not know anything about the world. You want to make sure that our political leaders have some knowledge of what's going on. So I was picked to go on this trip for 18 days. It was 9 days in Syria, 5 in Jordan, and 4 in Israel.
Wow. Mitch McConnell was there?
Also on the trip. Now remember, none of us were, quote, famous, or, we were young, and in our own communities we were known. But on the trip with me was Mitch McConnell and John Ashcroft,
No kidding.
and a couple of other people who, honestly, I don't remember.
McConnell was what at the time?
He might have been a state rep.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, he was. Yeah, he wasn't a high official yet, but someone in the State Department, or whatever, they decided these are the people that that we want to send on the trip. So we go. Now, understand, this is 1979. No Americans are allowed to be in Syria. They hate the government hates America, so you weren't allowed to be that. And what's more, I was the only Jewish person on the trip. The only relevance to that is that obviously Syria, with its war with Israel, didn't want any Jews there. But I didn't publicize the fact. No one mentioned it, and so there we went. So we're in Syria, and Syria was then, it's even worse condition now, but then it was a total police state. You go back, there are soldiers every place, and they're on the floor of your hotel. And when you leave your room, when you come back to your room, They don't even pretend that they weren't in it. But your suitcase is open. They go through everything. They're looking at everything. Every room is bugged. We were told ahead of time. Don't assume that every conversation you have is being listened to. Mm-hmm. And they were gonna take us around Syria, meet with Syrian officials, etc. And this was a special program. One afternoon, I'm sitting in my room. There must have been some kind of a break, and the phone rings in my room, and I'm figuring, I'm a pretty popular guy, but who knows me in Syria? Why is anyone calling me in Syria? So I pick up the phone, and it's a fellow speaks English with an accent and says he's with a P.L.O. and would like to meet with me and some other people in the group, one or two others. I don't remember exactly what the number was. And, of course, I was scared to death because, we know a lot more now about it. But back then, it sounded all scary. I should tell you that the P.L.O. is technically 301 Palestinian organizations. The most powerful one at the time was the Fatah Party, which Arafat was head of. But it was 301 Palestinian organizations. They wanted to meet with us to give a message to bring back to President Carter. Now, here's what's significant. We weren't there on an official capacity at all. We're basically local elected officials, nothing to do with the federal government. And so part of me is afraid, and part of me thinks that this is maybe a joke, but then there's, I'm a young buck. I'm thinking, oh, this is exciting, man. We're going to be involved in this. So I go next door and I say, I just got this call. And, of course, they think I'm pulling their leg, the other guys. But then when they saw vomit coming down my shirt, they knew I was serious. So, no, what I said to them, I said, look, I know you think I'm kidding. I got this call. Let's go down. The guy told us to meet down in the lobby in a half hour, and there'll be a car waiting for us. So I said, here's what we'll do. If you want to go, we'll go down into the lobby. If there's no car there, the joke's over. So, and then they realized I was being serious. There was nothing else to it. So a couple of the guys came with me, including Mitch McConnell. And we go downstairs. Sure enough, there's a car there. We get in the car. Now, remember, this is 1979. No one in the world had a cell phone. There was no communication. So basically, once we got in that car, there was no one in the world that knew where I was going. And somehow, and this is true because, I'm afraid of everything, but somehow it wasn't that scary because it's in the real world. You're just not thinking that. So you get in the car, and then the car drives, and then you start to get a little worried because obviously you're in Damascus. You don't know where you're going. So they take us into the car takes us into the middle of the town, which is they call it the souk, the marketplace, with the narrow little streets, etc. So a car can't go in there. So it lets you off at the edge, and you walk down these alleyways, and they bring you into this one, I don't even know what you call it, like a tent area, and they take us out the back door, and we go out and we get in another car. That, we didn't know why they were doing this, but it had significance, which I'll tell you about in a moment. We get in this other car, it drives us out of town, and we get to this, I think, 4-story, nondescript-looking office building or apartment house. It just looked like the communist world, gray and nothing. We go inside, and in the lobby, there were 70, 80 guys hanging around, not threatening us at all, but they all had their guns. I wouldn't know. Was it an Uzi? I had no idea. But they're there smoking, just all chatting. They take us upstairs, and we meet this fella named Khalid Faroum. He was the general counsel of the P.L.O. Back then. The general counsel is like the head lawyer for the entire 301 organizations, the bureaucratic leader. He was about 60-something years old, dressed immaculately in a Western suit. He could be a banker. He spoke with a British accent. And he said, have a seat. And The basic message he said was, if President Carter would come out in favor of Israel withdrawing to the pre-67 boundary lines, they would accept an invitation to peace talks in Geneva. And for those that don't follow that stuff, after the 1967 war, when Israel pushed back against the Arab countries that had attacked it, Israel got the Golan Heights, which had belonged to Syria. Israel got the West Bank, which had belonged to Jordan. Israel got the Negev, which belonged to Egypt. So, or was part of Egyptian territory at that time. So then with the 67 war, Israel got that. And so the Arab countries since, and the P.L.O. since, have always wanted that back. The West Bank, Gaza, and the Golan Heights. So that's been the dispute. And Israel, has been saying, no, we're not giving it back. We want you to say that Israel has a right to exist. But now this guy is saying the P.L.O. would accept an invitation to peace talks in Geneva. So as we're leaving, I say, can we ask some questions? And I remember the other guys looking at me like, just stuff it, Springer. Just for once in your life, don't be an a-hole.
And by the way, Mitch McConnell, again, is with this group. But this was preceded your TV show, so you were known.
Oh, yeah. This was,
so he was still respectable.
We had never, neither of us knew each other.
You were a young mayor?
Yeah.
Or
And he
mayor.
was, I must say, because I remember that, he was very smart, but also the total grown-up in the group.
I believe
mean, we were all young, and he
believe
was like he was born at 50 years of age. I mean, I honestly, and I don't mean that negatively. I'm not trying to make fun, but it was noticeable. If you interviewed any of the people that were there, he was the guy that did all his homework.
Yeah.
That never left. We were clowning around, making jokes, kind of like newsroom humor. You're in a tough situation, so you're joking around and saying inappropriate things, but he was always very proper. Anyway, I said, can we ask questions? And he said, well, sure, go ahead. And I said, we'll take back any message you want, but how can you expect anybody to do business with you while you use terrorism as a political tool?
Are you an idiot?
Wow.
No. So wait. So he said, well,
Who's he?
doesn't.
Oh, the PLO guy.
Khalid Faroum, the general counsel. He says he doesn't like the violence either. But he says, but you have to understand, when people feel their land is being occupied, some of the people are going to get violent and, do very harsh things. And I said, because a bomb had gone off a week earlier in Tel Aviv in a marketplace. And I said, excuse me, you consider Tel Aviv occupied? Because that has never been the case. The issue is the West Bank occupied, is Gaza. But Tel Aviv is part of Israel. And so I said, you consider Tel Aviv occupied? And he got very stone-faced. You asked too many questions.
See?
Oh,
And that is when McConnell, they turned to me. And they wanted to kill me.
Absolutely.
They didn't think it was funny then.
I bet.
And frankly, at that moment, I thought I should stop.
Yeah, I thought.
One
Now,
rare nugget of
one
good
other thing.
judgment.
We're getting ready to leave. And I say, so let me see if we, and they said, oh, shut us. I said, no, let me see if I have it right. You want Israel to withdraw to its pre-67 boundary lines, and then you would accept an invitation to peace talks in Geneva. And he said, and this was the significant part, no, we're not saying Israel should withdraw to those boundary lines. We want President Carter to come out in favor of it. So I didn't understand at the moment what the difference was, and then we left. I wasn't going to ask any more questions. And we were talking among ourselves, what was the significance of that? And then it finally dawned on us. And by the way, when we got back to the States, we got off the plane and we immediately were shepherded to the State Department to be debriefed. By the way, no one ever told us ahead of time that this kind of a meeting would take place. So the side note is, this happens all the time. When you're thinking about who's Hillary talking to, who all these people are talking to, they take private citizens, they're back channels, they're taking businessmen who don't know why they're there. They think they're there making a business deal, and suddenly someone makes contact. There is so much communication going on among the countries and powers in the world and the powers within a country all the time. It's very sophisticated. It's way beyond the kind of amateurishness you see in political campaigns where you take a bumper sticker and say, she talked to them, he talked to her. Everyone's talking. It's going on all the time. The difference, why the P.L.O. said, we're not saying Israel should withdraw to the pre-67 boundary lines. We're saying we want President Carter to come out in favor of it, is because there has always been a difference between the P.L.O. and all the other Arab countries. We simplistically here, thousands of miles away, always put the entire Arab world into one pocket. The fear is from the P.L.O. is that if Syria got back the Golan Heights, and if Jordan got back the West Bank, and Egypt at the time got Gaza or whatever the Negev, then all the Arab countries would have back their land, and they no longer would care about the P.L.O. because the P.L.O. is a nuisance for them as well, because they have all the refugees in their land and problems. Jordan, for example, the P.L.O. tried to assassinate the father of Hussein. So they don't have any love for each other. But if President Carter came out in favor of it, it wouldn't happen overnight, but at least they could start to negotiate. The P.L.O. wanted to be the leverage for an agreement. They wanted to be part of any agreement, so they get their land as well as Syria getting back what it wants. And so it was a fascinating education to someone like me who knew nothing about it really other than, what I read in textbooks. So, but it's a reminder, even when I listen to the political campaigns today about the sophistication, for example, that Hillary has in talking about these world leaders and the differences within these countries of the different sects within Islam. And, what's the difference between the Sunnis and the Shiites and the Kurds, and why Iraq isn't really a country but just a bunch of tribes, and now Syria is falling apart. All of that sophistication, it makes you think, oh my gosh, imagine having someone like Trump who honestly, even if he was the nicest person in the world, knows nothing about this. How is he going to make good judgments about any of this? It's so complicated, and et cetera. So
it's really interesting. And this all started with you saying that you got an invitation of sort of a reunion of this group that went there.
50th year. Yeah.
And will that be, are you pretty sure, Senator Mitch McConnell? Do you have any idea whether
he's
he will?
the one being honored? I mean,
so he's
being
honored,
on the program.
So he will for sure be there.
Yeah.
Serious question. Have you had any, I'm picturing this, and I imagine it was, this small group of people, and you get to know each other, and you're laughing, and you're having great conversations. Yeah. So have you seen him since that event back in the 70s or not?
The only time I honestly is at the Cincinnati airport, back when I was flying commercial with the little people.
This is before your show.
Oh, my God.
Before Life Alert
disgusting.
started doing commercials with it.
I don't like that other guy.
Yeah.
I saw him at the airport, and he was very friendly.
He knew who you were. And
he knew who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because by then, maybe I was doing the show. Yeah, by the time I saw him, I was doing the show.
Okay.
And
which is a shunda, and I wonder if you saw it as a shunda. Yeah. Jewish
but
term.
I don't know, now that I tell this story, I honestly don't know whether he remembers, and why would he, that I was part of that group.
Well, I think I would remember when you're asking questions. It made them all think
some
I might be
a-hole
killed.
was doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he put the guy he sees on television.
Yeah.
And because of my politics, I'm sure
I bet
he's
he
aware I'm a
knows.
Democrat and all that.
Right.
But I don't know that he remembers that I was on that trip, because there was nothing distinguishable about me in that trip. I was one of the guys.
Yeah, but he was too, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You were.
But I
basically-
really do remember him. And, as again, if you would have asked me at the end of the trip who was the real brains in that group, it was him. Was he real personable and, joking around with the guy. No, after hours, people didn't hang around with him.
Yep.
But he was the guy that knew it, and he did. He was, his whole life, this is what he wants to do. I'll give him credit for that.
No, he's
the same way I give Hillary credit, is they have devoted their lives to public service.
Very dedicated.
Hats off to that. I mean, that clearly is. I don't like his views. I'm totally opposed to them. But there can be no question about the sincerity of his commitment to public service.
By the way, when we were at the convention, we ran into a lot of people, as I was mentioning before, and one of them, and what made me do this is you authorized Megan to use her cell phone during the episode. I now think episodes for the
That's
green
it.
lights
From now on
on.
out, I'm just going to be remote. I'll be on my phone.
Yeah, and so I got on my
Are you
phone.
getting any dates as this
I
is
am.
going on?
Absolutely.
Really? Can I
Absolutely.
read
Swear to
one of
God,
them?
yeah.
Give me,
Or,
read
well,
one.
no,
I don't
let
wanna
her
read your
read one.
phone.
You're not going to
Yeah.
read them.
No, it's
I'll
just,
read it out loud.
Yeah, I know you
I'm
will.
the guy who said to the P.L.O. guy.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's just that what do you like to do? Is I like to go find new restaurants, live music, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I like theater. He said, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We should probably get together and do that sometime this week. So
There you go.
There you
He
go.
doesn't like live theater.
Doesn't like live
We
theater.
can figure that's the two. The
Gotta
third.
figure that.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
to figure that. Yeah,
He probably likes to eat.
probably. People generally like music.
Where's he from? Do you know anything
He's from
about him?
Cincinnati. I've literally known this person for 17 minutes. So
Of those 17, which was your finest minute?
I don't know yet, Jared.
Yeah.
I don't have a holistic picture of it yet, but I'll let you know if
Is there a picture? Can he send
Well,
a
yeah,
picture?
it's a.
Let's see the
dating
picture.
site.
And
No. You can't
just
show
like-
the picture.
I can
Well,
show
you
him.
showed
I
it,
can
yeah.
show him.
We're not going to
Yeah.
show the picture.
Look at the camera moving up on Facebook Live. You want to try to get this.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. Well, while you were on that, and I didn't go on to a dating site because my wife happens
Bonnie
to be
might-
across the street teaching at a dance studio right across the street from where we are.
Hi,
But-
Bonnie.
Hey, but I did go into my emails, and Jerry, do you remember who Frank Luntz is?
Right. Yeah.
It's a pretty important
Yeah,
guy.
he-
Luntz Global Initiatives, I think is his company.
He's a political consultant, and his specialty is language, words. And he's a Republican. He's very conservative, and he was very active in the Bush campaigns. And he finds
Frames, they're called, actually, how to frame,
how to frame a
issues
political
in-
issue
in somebody.
and make something that would not sound good. He puts a word, and
He's masterful
He
at it.
spins
he's
it.
masterful.
And he does
And
focus
all-
groups, lots of focus groups
Yeah.
with little dial things and measuring emotional reactions to issues, to presentation, etc. So you made a pitch to him just coming out of security, and maybe it's just how I look, but they always have me, they're searching me for like 10, 15 minutes, and you just walk through. I got to tell you this,
This
Megan.
is true.
Go through security with all of
This
these
is at the convention.
these federal officers, and they go, Springer, how you doing? And whatever he's got, no, just come on through.
I could have
Come
carried
on.
anything. Yeah, I could have been packing.
They had him.
And I'd be like,
They-
well, I'm with
yeah.
him. No, you back
yeah.
up there.
Hey,
sir.
there, plaid
Back up,
shirt guy
sir.
over here.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
not
I
to be
know.
trusted.
Because you do look shady.
I do,
Absolutely
I do.
shady.
But anyway, we came through that, and Frank Luntz was there, and he and Jerry know each other, and they were talking. And I sent him an email as a producer of the podcast and said, would you come on the show? It's probably going to be over the phone, and it's going to happen.
No
he says,
kidding.
yeah, set it up through my office. So
Super.
we look forward to that. I think that's going to be
very cool.
interesting.
Oh, I think it could be real interesting, particularly with the language and the code words that Trump has
Yeah.
been using.
Oh, I'd love to hear about
So
that.
we're going to get this
Yeah.
set up, and
Yeah.
he'll be a guest, and we look forward to that. Quick question, Jerry. Give a quick take on the American swimming team that got into such trouble in Rio de Janeiro at the end of the Olympic Games, which, as we're recording this, was just last week. This episode will be into our archive as of next week, so it won't be particularly stale. But give a quick take on that whole, I don't know, mess is maybe a good way to describe it.
Well, obviously it was stupid what they did, but you can't just pass it off as a prank. He's in his 30s.
Yep.
You know, at some point, you're not a college kid anymore.
And so this is,
And
what's
he's
his
a
first
leader
name?
on that. Ryan Lochte.
Ryan Lochte.
Yeah, and he's a leader on that team. Come on now.
Yeah.
So you had no sympathy either, Megan, as it was happening?
You know, you never like to see someone get in trouble. And, you know, we've all, and I lead the pack on that, have had moments in our life that we say,
Do you want to
what
go?
was I thinking?
No, I didn't mean to go here, but since
No.
you brought, do you want to go through
Let's
those
not
moments?
go there.
Okay, I didn't know. I
Let's
didn't know
not
if you
go
were.
there. We could go there, but we're on this side of the river now, so let's stay on this.
Well, see, I don't even get the joke, Megan. I don't know what he's talking about, and you're laughing.
No.
You weren't even born.
But, yeah.
And I still know about it.
But, so therefore, I give him space if he were in his 20s, because 20s worked for me.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But, no, it was terrible what he did, period. And it doesn't matter that you're a great athlete. You know, and maybe that's, you know, if you're talking to your kids about lessons, and it's not just with this, it's with our sports heroes. Because you're great at sports, or you're a great actor, or you got a great album, you know, because you have a particular talent, that's what you are. You have that particular talent, but that doesn't mean anything else.
Yep.
You know, kids that look to sports figures as their role models, wrong. You know, it could be an athlete that's a nice person, a good person, fine. But they're not defined. You know, your role models in the perfect world are mom and dad. That's where you look for your role models. You know, I loved Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra, and they could have been great people, but, you know, growing up as a kid, mom and dad were the role models. That's where you got to look. And I think, and we do the same thing. Certainly we do the same thing with politicians and whatever. It's like, if somebody is good at something, recognize that they are good at that. And you don't need to draw any other lessons from that. So I would say he's one world-class swimmer.
Is his economic life as he knew it over, do you think? Because I know 2 companies have pulled out.
Well, sure.
By the way, Speedo.
There's a price.
3 up
I
to
think
3.
it's 4 now. That's what
Ralph Lauren, I think.
I forget. I read
and
an
others.
article.
And
Okay.
someone will hire him to do something, but it's in terms of being a spokesperson.
Yeah, or an endorser.
It goes out the well. Look what happened to Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's even a greater example because he was worldwide, and for years. So it wasn't just like, well, he had a great 2 weeks at the Olympics. You know, and you know, he did what he did, and then all of a sudden, boom, the sponsors leave.
The only thing I would say that I disagree with a little bit on that is that this was on the Olympic stage. You are representing your country. You're not just swimming for yourself. You're not just swimming for a title. You are there to represent yourself and your country. So for him to behave like such an arrogant little whatever is really, that's disheartening. And like I said, he's supposed to be a leader on this team. These are young kids up there, and I think it's just all such a shame.
And you do have to
Such a shame.
and you do have to recognize that in the Olympics you are representing a nation.
Right.
You know, even if you're not going to be the role model for raising kids, you're still representing the country. So get your act together for the 2 weeks.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right, let's bring forward Andrew Hibbard, who is a young folk singer from the tri-state region of Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. And Andrew is going to start us off with a song. And as he's getting ready, let me mention a couple things about him. If you want to hear, after hearing him tonight, more of his music, you simply go to andrewhibbard.com. And he just returned, actually, from a 6,500-mile road trip. Now, see, that sounds good to me. I was talking about unlimited mileage, and that's he put up some pretty good numbers.
So he's got the stamina to do it.
There's your driver, Gene. There's your partner.
Too bad he's not
Maybe
old
he's
enough to have
driver
a
number
driver's
2.
license.
Yeah, right. And by the way, that is true. Andrew is 20 years old, and that's why I referred to him. And he does write his own music. He's going to do a song or 2 original tunes.
20 years
In that
old.
sense, he's very much like early Dylan. And
Or
thank
Donovan.
you. Or Donovan, yeah. And thanks for joining us, and start us off with a song, if you would.
Thanks, I appreciate it, guys. This is the first one. It's I was watching Donald Trump things on TV, and I wrote this. It's called 1%er. I am a 1%er. Hello, girls and boys. I am
percenter. What you try to build, I will destroy. My children are all swell while you work and you slave, and I make what you make in 10 years and 2 days. I'll wear all my jewelry that I'll take to my grave, 'cause I'm a one percenter, and I'm 1% of the world. I am a one percenter, living in the land of the free. I am a one percenter, and you will never take my money from me. A million is fine, a billion is mine, a trillion and I still will not draw the line. So get you a glass and just toast to my wine, 'cause I'm a one percenter, and I'm 1% of the world. A meeting of friends has arisen, while we all just grin ear to ear, while child is cold and out hungry, crying for us all to hear. But our wine glasses clank 'cause we are so proud that Wall Street and Walmart are still allowed. We could never hear you though 'cause our music's too loud, 'cause I'm a one percenter, and I'm 1% of the world. My children are all taught my values, to value the heart-wrenching greed. My children are all taught by their daddy, and they wanna be just like me. They attend Harvard, an Ivy League school, where honor and respect are only for fools. Here's a drop while I swim in my pool, 'cause I'm a one percenter, and I'm 1% of the world.
All right, good song.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, we were talking before the podcast began, Andrew, about Bob Dylan, and you're 20 years old, and you
Yeah.
were telling me that you got out of high school, a place called Ross High School, which is in Ohio. Ross is in Ohio?
Yeah,
They're
it's
pretty close to Indiana border, right?
about 45 minutes away from here.
Okay, from the Cincinnati area, and you went right at your music. It wasn't like I'll go to college for 4 years, or I'm going to go try this and go hit the road. And
It was never something I really wanted to do. I never really tried.
as far as college, you
school.
mean? Or
Yeah, it just wasn't for me.
And you know, if you think about this, Woody Guthrie, Bob Dylan, that's their story. And you know a lot about Bob Dylan, and you weren't born when he was performing. When were you born? What year?
95.
Yeah, so he was doing his stuff starting in the 60s. It was amazing.
There was just a collective groan across the audience.
Yeah, my show was on the air for 6 years by then.
Yeah, that's good.
Husband Jerry bought
And
his
I
first jet.
appreciate it and hope that you never have seen the Jerry Springer Show in your life, correct?
I know.
On that tour, I actually watched a few episodes of it.
Bless you. And see, you're a nice young man.
I know.
It was the one where
Oh, we don't need to hear what it was about.
They're together. Yeah, they're all the same anyway.
We don't
Hey,
need those dirty details.
And so people can follow you and, you know, YouTube, Spotify,
Yeah.
and certainly at Andrew Hibbard, HIBBARD.com. Do a second song for us, would you?
It's the second one. I was listening to a lot of Velvet Underground about a while ago, and I kind of came up with this called Waiting on My Man. Hit up the back alley, dry as sand. Reached in my back pocket, got the money in my hand. Well, I'm just waiting on my man. He never says no, 'cause I only got one place to go, my man. Right all the way home, she says, really slick. Make a stop, Daddy, 'cause you sound a little sick. Well, I'm just waiting on my man. I never say please, 'cause he's got what I need, my man. Off the back alley, dry as sand. Do a little handshake with the money in my hand. Well, I'm just waiting on my man. I never say please, 'cause he's got what I need, my man.
Yeah, good one.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Andrew Hibbard, andrewhibbard.com. And we think we're catching you at the front end of what's going to be a really cool career. Would you do us a
Thank
favor
you.
and lead us in Good Night, Irene, and let Jerry Springer, who is much older than you, and maybe you can school him on how to do this song, but he'll take the second verse.
Okay.
You've been listening to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery, recorded live at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky. Thanks to Patrick Kennedy for writing our opening song, and to you for listening. Check out our website at jerryspringer.com.
I'll see you in my dreams.
Sometimes I live in the country, and sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I take a great notion to jump in that river and drown.
Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Thank you, guys.